Hey guys, my name's Neil and I am the Shameless Investor. And today I want to talk to you guys about budgeting. The reason I'm talking about budgeting today is because I have a 17-year-old daughter and we just started a Roth IRA for her. And just like me when I was her age and my parents were trying to talk to me about investing, she just had no interest. She really no interest at all. And I didn't either. I wanted to do everything but talk about investing. So, unfortunately, I started investing way too late in life, and I wish I would have started sooner, like I've heard so many other people say. And the later you get in life, the harder it is to start. So, I really thought, I need to get her started now, and I think I might be working backwards, but we'll see how it goes. This is my first video, so I would love to hear your comments below on what I can do to improve it and what I can do if you agree with anything that I say here in this video, and if you want to hear more about this stuff. I did set up a Roth IRA for my daughter, and that is kind of where this budget came from. In the schools today, they don't really teach a whole lot about investing. They certainly don't teach much about budgeting or anything along those lines, and I honestly think that's more important than a lot of the things they do teach. I mean, a lot of things they teach I never used again and forgot and did fine without. So, but this stuff is very, very important, and I don't remember learning about this stuff in school. My mom taught me this stuff, and I learned this stuff from talking to people who have been doing this stuff, and this is kind of where I decided to start with my daughter, because she really didn't think she had the money to do it. And I mean, how could she not? She has no bills, really, right? Which we're going to get into now. Alright, so I do believe every video is supposed to start with me asking you to like the video and subscribe, and but more importantly, I would like you to comment and tell me what I'm doing right and what I'm doing wrong, if you have any different ideas and all of that. So, or if you're doing this with your own kids, which would be great. Hopefully you are. Okay, let's get started. Alright, so there's a lot of like apps for budgeting, but I decided to just make a spreadsheet because I wasn't really sure, and I figured I know how to do a spreadsheet, and I wasn't sure how many apps I was ready to go through and try and work through budgets on an app. And honestly, I really wanted my daughter to be involved in it, so instead of both of us working on a little screen, I just spent about 20 minutes or so putting together a budget for her. Okay, so a lot of these things are not really for a 17-year-old, but I included them in here because she's not very far off from this stuff, so it's better that she starts thinking about it now, I think. So we start with the income, and she does have a job. She works at Burger King, and she makes about $800 a month. Maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, but we figured about $800, and we'll definitely have a better idea once we start tracking it, right? Okay, and so then second income, if she's not making $800 a month, she needs a side hustle, right? Or something else, mow the lawns or whatever. Really, she does, but it's not consistent. So next would be a third income, like a rental property, Airbnb. Um, with having these conversations, I really kind of wanted to get the point across that money can work for you. You don't work for the money, and eventually, I mean, obviously you do work for the money, but eventually you want to have enough money that it does enough work for you that you don't have to work anymore. And at this point in my life, I may be working till I'm 70, so I would like her to get a head start, right? And then any alternatives, fourth income would be investments, dividends. Um, that's what I was just kind of talking about, having money work for you. Eventually, if she could get this up high enough, she could potentially make enough money in dividends alone to live off of, or at least have a nice cushion if she wanted to maybe go on a vacation or something like that.
I'm raising 5 kids and I didn't.
So then we got alternate sources. When I put that in, I was just kind of thinking, like, we know she gets $100 for her birthday, $100 for Christmas from Grandpa. Um, she gets she gets gifted money, and or just maybe I don't know. I just put that in there because I wanted her to think about alternate sources of income. So if you have any other ideas, let me know and we can discuss that with my daughter. All right, so now we're going to go over here. I split up expenses. I really just started doing this for myself as fixed expenses, stuff that doesn't really change. Um, maybe it does a little bit, but over a period of time usually. You don't usually pay, $50 for your phone one month and then the next month it goes up to 100 or whatever. For the most part, it's pretty fixed. So, mortgage and rent obviously didn't apply to her because I cover all that. She doesn't have homeowners or rental insurance yet. I pay all the utilities. I pay for for the internet. We don't have cable. I do have her kick in on her phone, so she uses a lot of data. A lot of data. She's a kid, so although her phone bill is more than $30, I have her pay 30 of it. And then her car broke down a couple months ago, and her grandpa offered to help pay for that, and she wanted to pay him back. So her idea to pay him back was $50 a month until it was paid off. So I also really wanted her to understand how loans work. It's really the opposite of an investment, right? So you're paying interest, your money is working against you. Whatever you need that money for, it's working against you. So I really wanted her to kind of understand how loans work, and I wanted to put that in here because it can really be, it's almost half of everything that she has for her expenses here. And as you get older, the loans get bigger. And grandpa doesn't charge her interest, but the banks will for sure. So, anyways, I'm proud of her that she wants to pay him back. He doesn't care, but I'm glad that she does. And that's important to me. And it is important to me that she learns about the, the power of repaying loans and how that is, it's really a trap, a debt trap. So, car insurance. She pays $80 a month towards that, and so she makes $800 a month. And right off the bat, things that aren't going to change, they're only going to go up. 160 if that's coming up. Oh, I should also mention, I put in monthly and I put in annually, especially when we get to the subjective expenses. What seems like a small amount really can add up when you look at it over the years. So I wanted to both put the monthly and then how it translates annually. And if you don't know how to work Excel, there's lots of videos out there that can teach you. Or like I said, I'm sure there's an app for it, right? There's an app for everything these days. So then we got subjective expenses, and these I wanted her to review often for ways that she can save, like groceries. So we were really bad grocery shoppers for a while. We would, I don't know, I used to get embarrassed almost to go through the aisle. We had a lot of junk, so we have modified how we grocery shop, and it's cheaper to not buy all the junk. So Anyway, she doesn't pay for the groceries. I do, but I wanted her to be thinking about how, you can buy groceries, but you don't necessarily have to spend a ton of money on stuff you don't need. Subscriptions. We used to have all of these. Netflix, I think, was like $15 a month. Hulu was 7. Disney Plus. They that all adds up. We had Amazon Prime. We had it all, and I have since gotten rid of it all. We don't need it. And that is how I ended up on YouTube too. Just so you know, that's kind of what I started doing, was watching videos on YouTube and about things that interested me, and um, yeah. So, anyways, we got rid of all the subscriptions, but if we were to plug that in, let's say we're spending $45 on that, that comes up to $540 a year. That, adds up. So I wanted her to be thinking about that. And when we went through this, we plugged in numbers like that so she could really get the full scope of how this, really can affect you as, your finances. So, gas. So gas is a difficult one to say is subjective, because if you have a job, you go to your job, it's usually about the same distance. But when I really started to think about it, we used to live just a couple blocks from the store. We don't anymore. We've since moved, but we used to live just a couple blocks from the store, and out of convenience, I would drive. So there's ways that you can cut back on, how far you're driving and how much you're driving. You know, even going back to the groceries, now I order online, and then I just go and I pick it up, and I find that when I do that, I don't end up going right back to the grocery store the very next day because I forgot something or couldn't find something or just wanted to get out of there because I had been there forever. So you can find ways. I still go pick them up, but I feel like I'm making less trips. So there's ways you can save on gas, and that is something I wanted her to definitely be thinking about. Um, let's see, we got gas and then maintenance. And so for her, she's young, and we only put $50 a month away for maintenance, but that still comes up to $600 a year. And thankfully, she doesn't work very far away, so she doesn't need an oil change every single month or anything like that. So we figured that would be a good start for her. But obviously, once she starts to own a home and whatnot, then she'll need to factor in a little bit more for maintenance. Entertainment, this is her biggest one, and that's because she's young. So kids want to have fun, but it's under something that she should be reviewing. So, like, if she wants to um, do something big, she can't go play all month and then spend her savings on something big. She has to, budget that in. So, I thought $100 was okay for now, but maybe she'll review that later. So that's the idea, anyways, right? Fast food. Ideally, this one would be zero. $40 a month adds up to $480 annually. A lot of people spend more than that on fast food. She happens to work in fast food, so it's a little harder for her not to do it. But and then she works a lot of evening shifts and stuff, goes right from school to work. So I get she's probably hungry, so thankfully she gets a discount and she doesn't eat a lot. So anyways, but that's something that's definitely subjective. And I know there's a whole lot of more things that I need to be adding in this for her. But this was just kind of our start to get her to the big one, investments. All right, so she has quite a lot of savings. Ever since she started working, I've told her she has to put at least half of it away. And ideally, I was trying to get her to invest it, but it was just going into a savings account, and then I stopped thinking about it, and Then I decided no, we can't do that. So we took half of her savings and put it into a Roth IRA. And then I want her to continue contributing to it. But I do want her to have 6 months of all of this, including her investments, in savings. But I don't want her to worry about having all of that right away first, because she doesn't really have any bills. Usually you would say 6 months of all of your bills. Well, I mean, she really doesn't have any bills. This stuff is mostly fun stuff. I mean, she could do without all the data, and I would cover her phone. Grandpa doesn't care about her paying him back, and well, the car insurance she's gonna pay as long as she drives, but it's pretty low. So she would actually have enough money in her account right now to cover 6 months of car insurance. But anyways, going back to investments, I put these in. I told her the order that I thought she should invest, and some of these don't apply for her yet. Like Burger King does not offer a 401k yet. The health savings account I'm not sure about for her yet, but definitely something we're gonna look into. Anyways, Roth IRA, traditional IRA, charitable contributions. So she's putting half into the savings, half of her investments into the savings right now, and half into Roth IRA. So obviously I want this to be up to $500 a month, which takes us back to maybe needing a side hustle or a second job, or figuring out ways to save more money, either bring more in or put more out, so she has more to invest. But until we get there, we're gonna work with what we got, right? And that's what I had to do too. I didn't get 6,000 in my Roth IRA every year. I wish I would have. Boy, do I wish I would have. It's still hard for me to get $6,000 a year into my Roth IRA, and I make a lot more. The more you make, the more you spend. So I'm working on this too. This is a great lesson for not just kids, but adults as well. Anyways, so where did I leave off? Health savings account. There's lots of benefits to that. My mom talked my ear off about them. I had no interest, but that's definitely something I'm going to look into. Roth IRA is grows tax free, so that's obviously a smarter choice than, especially for a kid who's only 17 years old. Talking about Roth IRAs though, since she's only 17, she needs to have a custodial account, and there are only a handful of brokers that handle custodial Roth IRA accounts. So if you want me to do a video, I actually did a lot of research and ended up picking what I think was a good choice. But if you want me to do a video on the platforms that you can have a custodial Roth IRA, comment below and I would be happy to do that for you guys. Okay, so then traditional Roth IRA, traditional IRA, there's a few more brokerages that do this. So if you're having trouble with the Roth IRA, or maybe you are in a brokerage that allows for traditional IRAs but not the Roth IRAs, and would rather not open up a new account because you have to have the account too, then you could maybe skip the Roth IRA and go to the traditional IRA. This is not financial advice. You do what you want with your children. I just think it's a great idea to start thinking about this stuff. And so that would be my only real piece of advice, and it's not financial advice. It's just something I think is important that kids are not getting these days. So beyond the traditional IRA, then we got charitable contributions. And we talked about this a lot with charity. We call it an investment because we believe it invests in your soul, it invests in your community, it invests in mankind. So it is an investment, but right now you can see we have it at zero. But that is because we pretty much spent all our money, right? So money is not the only way that you can be charitable, though. So you can give of yourself, of your time, and that is a great way to serve your soul and your community and everything. So if you're not in a financial place where you can do that, I believe you should find other ways to be charitable until she is at least putting 6,000 in here and some in here. And I noticed we don't have a regular trading account in here, but when you become an adult you might want one of those as well. I would suggest being cautious. That there's a lot of people out there saying how easy it is to make $100 a day, but it's not necessarily that easy, right? Buy the course and see how much money you lose, right? No, I don't know. I haven't bought any of the courses, so I don't know. Maybe I will someday, but we'll see. I have, I do have a trading account, which does okay, but I am investing with very small amounts of money in that. I think it's up to I've contributed like $500, and it's maybe up to 700. So it's play money, the investment account. That is how I view it. If you're going to try and do the swing trading, day trading, if you're going to be very active in it, plan on it being a play account. If you're going to do research and find some companies that you believe in and have a track record of growing, and you're going to put the money in there and you're going to contribute to it regularly and just leave it alone, then it's not such a play account anymore, right? Now it's still a serious investment, but that's kind of why I left that off here for now. She's not to that point, and I also am not to that point either. I do have an account, like I said, but it's not something I add to very often, and it's not my safe investment. So anyways, we left that off. Alright, so I have to turn the video off here so you can see the next page. Alright, so here is the total of the previous page on income, monthly, annually, and then for those who know Excel, this is a pretty easy math. We just subtract, subtract, subtract. This is what we got left. Same over here, subtract, subtract, subtract. This is what we got left. Ideally, we want to have it all accounted for, right? So we'll see. Like I said, this is a new thing we're doing with her, and I am hoping that it takes off. And if it does, then we will have a better tracking of exactly what's coming in and where it's all going. And ideally, we're going to have a lot of it going over here, because now is the time, right? So she is not getting kicked out. She's a very good kid. She can stay here through college. I will help her with college as much as I can, and there's a lot of ways that she can hold off on getting trapped into all of this stuff. She has a very nice car, and it should last her a very long time. One of the mistakes I made when I was younger was kind of getting a new car every few years, and now I drive them until they die, and then I fix them and drive them until they die again and fix them. And I think my last car, well, I shouldn't say that. My last car, somebody rear-ended me and totaled it, but before that, I had been driving that car for 10 years, and it quickly became apparent to me that it is, in most cases, a lot less expensive to fix a vehicle even if it's $2,000, then to make a payment of $500 a month, plus the insurance goes up and all that stuff. So definitely a way to think of things, and that is what I'm trying to get my daughter to do too. So, um, like me though, she's a little bit stubborn and really didn't want to talk about this stuff. So, what I decided to do was we're going to start at the beginning. I'm forcing her in, and then I'm hoping after a month or two of seeing the gains that she will start to get a little bit more excited. And when we're talking $160 coming out, that is, I'm sorry, $320. That is not very much money. And although it's half of her check almost, it's not really, because she was already taking half of her check out and putting it into savings. So she shouldn't even notice at this point, and hopefully we can get some more into this investing. Alright guys, so I don't know how long this has been, but I think I've probably talked your ear off about budgeting, and most people don't want to hear about this stuff, but I do think it's important. So if you're a parent out there, I think this is a great place to start, and I am having fun making the videos. I'm learning, so I'm not very good at the editing portion yet, so if you have any tips and tricks for me there, I would love to hear them. If you have anything you would like to include that I maybe missed in the budgeting process, absolutely, I want to hear all that too. If you know of a good app that would be good for kids for budgeting, I would love to hear about that, all in the comments below, and then maybe I can do a video about that as well. Once again, if you liked it, give me a thumbs up. I promised my daughter I would include 10 cents with every like for her savings emergency fund until she gets up to the point where she can start putting more down here. If we start to get too many likes, though, I'm not a rich person, so I might have to down that to a penny. I did tell her that, it's not going to be me coming back on my deal or anything. I did say that, we'll start with 10 cents because I probably will only get 20 likes, if that, who knows. But, certainly don't think I'm going to get rich on YouTube, but I thought it would be a fun thing to do, to share and maybe meet some other people who are doing similar things. And I don't foresee myself having a Patreon or anything like that, but I am enjoying the process. So figuring out how to do all this stuff was a little bit fun. I think I've already been playing with some editing softwares, different editing softwares, and that's kind of fun. So, and speaking of a day job, I sell promotional products, so I could potentially see myself making another channel besides investing for the fun products that we put logos on at my day job, and maybe generating some more business and some more income, and the rotation, and then I won't have to work until I'm 70. So alright guys, thumbs up, like, subscribe, and we will see you in the next video.